So it sounds like a huge success. What went wrong, Anton?
Yeah, well, so one first problem that we encountered was that it took us, every company wanted to negotiate their own terms, and no system likes to different terms in one system. So it took us sometimes, so very small companies were doing hiring by themselves, and the larger companies were open to have kind of recruiting services, but they wanted to for you to negotiate. And a top company, it took us around 4 months to negotiate a contract. And it wasn't that they were negotiating fees or anything, they were just negotiating the wording. So and it was the paper was like 20 pages, and so it took us a lot of time. And the problem was that um, it was really hard to build engagement with the users, because good programmers, when they come up on the market, they are there for 1 2 weeks. You know, they had a dispute with their boss. They said, okay, enough is enough, I want to look for a new job. And then they let's say they come up to our system, they say, I'm looking for a job. And in 2 weeks, if we don't find him any work, he finds himself. He just says, I'm looking for work, and 100 companies are applying and knocking on his door. So, and talking to companies took us, again, sometimes 4 months. So to match this was really hard, and it was really hard to build retention, because people change jobs only once in 3 years. So how do you keep a person interested in your profile, and for him to remember when he will be changing his job to come to us? But we also, the good thing that we introduced a sharing model. So if the candidate is hired through our system, we were paying him part of our fee. So because he also took time to come to the company to have a discussion, we decided it is fair also to share what we earn on him. And the interesting fact is that it was much more interesting for them to get a kind of voucher for, I don't know, driving a sports car for a half an hour, which, let's say, in nominal values cost 500, than to receive a bonus of 2,000. Because if they received just a monetary bonus of 2,000, they was like, yeah, well, I get money every day. They had no feelings. But because it was, when we started giving them vouchers, they're so attached to this feeling that they had or they were flying on the plane or whatever they could choose. The engagement was much better.
That's smart. I haven't actually heard about like a payback fee to the
Yeah,
person being
it
recruited.
was really
It's like
novel.
a referral fee for your own referral.
Yeah, because we
That's
thought,
smart.
when you're looking for a job, and everybody knows that you are really needed on the market because there are few IT people, why shouldn't we share? He's taking his time off to go to another company, to spend time on discussions, on tests and everything. That takes time and that costs. So we thought it would be fair to share.
Smart.
Yeah.
So you had an issue here with the long sales cycles for the consumer and a very short engagement period for the suppliers. Was there
Yeah.
anything else that went wrong, you think?
Um, this, yes, when you analyze the issue, generally, whenever you build any marketplace, is whether you have the transaction amount and transaction frequency. So transaction amount was high because we had around 9% of annual salary, which was pretty good, but transaction frequency was once in 3 years. So at some point we decided, we knew that there's that is just not sustainable. We can push it as we can, as hard as we can, but still it will be very hard. And another thing was that what we saw that no matter how tech savvy the programmers were, developers were, they still needed a human touch. So they still needed a person to talk to discuss their career, their needs and everything. So at some point, we also hired HR people to kind of manage the whole process, to talk to him. Are you okay? Are you feeling nice? Do you like them? Will you be on time? Because they were forgetting their. We had to remind them that they're going on a, on a recruiting meeting. If did everything went well? Did they treat you nice? So that became the issue, that we need to have a human touch, and we saw that if you need a human touch, then you need X amount of people to fill X amount of um, kind of orders, recruitments, which becomes basically a recruiting business at a lower fee.
Mm. And it's
So
not really scalable.
yeah, it's really hard to scale. So that's when we decided that maybe we either need to completely change the model, and there are models I think that are let's say scalable and profitable. For instance, there is a company in US that is called Hired.com, and they did a very similar. They started before us, but what a twist that they did was that they did it in a way of an auctioning. So you have, they were announcing to companies, okay, we have 10 candidates coming up this week for auctioning. And then they were preparing the CVs and everything, and companies could bid. So they were increasing the potential gain for a platform, because the more you bid, the more gets the platform. And they were getting rid of this cycle that the guy is open for a new job this week and he gets hired this week, and companies that are interested come on the auction that are interested in particular technology. So, and they grew immensely. So I think that's a very good model.
That's smart, yeah, yeah. So now, from the time you went live and until you realized this is not going to be
Mhm.
sustainable, how long did that take you guys?
Oh, wow. I would say some another 8 to 10 months. Yeah, because we worked with different stuff in between,
Mhm.
and we were fixing a lot of problems in between. For instance, there is a huge problem for candidates to fill in the kind of CV resume for us, and if they don't fill, our system doesn't work. Because whenever we ask them, if you sign up on a basic platform, it takes you what? Email, name, password, that's it. And to fill in the whole resume takes a lot of time, and nobody wants to do this. So we employed a method, it's called Wizard of Oz. So we told the companies and the tech talent that we created like a special technology that scrapes data and analyzes data. This is again was before the whole machine learning AI buzzword time. We just said that we have crazy algorithms, and so the person had only to attach his existing CV or just give a link to his LinkedIn profile, and by a magic, it was all fetched, and the whole the whole profile was built. But what we did in actuality was we used the unlimited amount of students. So we just created a system that was taking in the CV and LinkedIn profile, and it was kind of test environment based on Trello. So there was kind of tasks whenever any person was signing up, we have a task being created automatically in Trello, assign a person, give them some kind of a temporary password so that they can go to the profile, fill everything, analyze, have some understanding of how it should be filled, and then put it, and then it was sent to the talent, and the guy said, okay, your profile is ready, see if we did everything right. And he opens up a beautiful profile, and they say, oh my gosh, guys, how are you doing this? So this was kind of Wizard of Oz method to do this. And there were a lot of different other ways that we approached this. For instance, we knew that it it was not enough. Our database was not enough for companies because there were many different variables. Let's say you location variable, technology variable, experience variable. That was out of, at some point we got to 1,500 candidates. Still, it was at the end we were having 3 people, which was not enough. So what we did, well, we kind of expanded our platform. So we started posting on the jobs on every free platform that was available, job platform, job posting platform. So just mass job posting everywhere. So whenever a company was clicking, it not only made the matching algorithm and matching process in our platform, but was just spewing out those offers around the internet and in Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. And we also, to make it easy, because especially it was really hard to post on Facebook because there was too much text. So we created a small hack where you put some basic data, and the system created a basic infographic that was just posting a picture of a job. And if you want more, just click here, and it took him to a job. If you wanted to apply, had to sign up for the platform. So that allowed us to decrease the friction of signing up, which is in these type of marketplaces, talent marketplaces, is the hardest friction, I would say.
I mean, in general, like barrier of entrance is one of the things that is the biggest problem, I guess,
Yep.
for any company trying to get people to sign up to anything. So
Yeah.
I like the approach you have. You have to be smart about it. But so you here 8-10 months later, you fix these things, you realize it's still not working. And then I guess you closed down, or what happened then?
No, we decided to see what happens. So we got some clients, we made some recruitment. So it wasn't like we didn't make any recruitment. But some larger, the funniest fact, one of the best recruitment processes that we had was that a company came by itself. We were not emailing them because they saw our calculator, and they wanted for us to find them some people. We found the guy, and we told him, this is the offer, maybe you're interested to change. He said, yes, I'm interested, but I need to double the salary. And then we told him, are you crazy, double salary? He told us, just shut up and send my CV to the client. So we wanted to be transparent. So all our discussion over email, we sent it to a client and said, this is the guy. If you want him, he's available, but double the salary. And we don't want to be, it's not like we were pushing him, it was his own kind of message. And at the beginning they said, are you crazy, double salary, never ever. But then they started looking at CV and said, oh, actually it's a cool guy. Yeah, it's okay, we'll hire him. So one of the first actually hires was the easiest one, because the company came to us, the guy said that he wants double salary, and it all worked out well. But later on, the payments, because also a huge issue was, even if a person changes the job, they have a 3 months notice period. And then once they change the job, we could invoice a customer in 30 days. So you have 4 months. And then somewhere late for another month. So you have 5 months to wait. But it was because the guy doubled his salary, it was enough for us to cover 3 months of all our operations. So yeah.
Yeah, cash flow can be an issue there as well, I guess. And that's something you probably don't think about until you are in the situation.
Until you want to have to pay. We started talking to investors, so it wasn't like we didn't try to get any investors. We talked to a couple of them, and they wanted actually, they were interested to maybe invest at some point, and they asked us to, because some of them were IT companies themselves. So they said, okay, let's just let us try your platform, and if we see the benefit, we will invest. But it was founder's idea, and at some point the HR people thought that it could be a conflict for them, that if our platform works very well, they are not needed there for half a price. So we started having some frictions in the company because of us, and yeah, it didn't work out. That investment didn't go well.
That's a shame. So we talked a lot about what worked, what doesn't
Hmm.
work. Is there anything you feel like if you're starting out today? Obviously, the industry and the landscape has changed a lot in just the 4 years. And you mentioned GDPR yourself. You mentioned Facebook, all of that. But is there anything that you can think about right now that you would do differently that would still apply today? Or
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the mistakes we did, we didn't go into very narrow niche. So we thought, okay, our niche would be largest cities in Poland, which were like 5 largest cities. But was too broad. We had to go, especially when our user base was 70% from only one city. So we should have focused only on one city, and in that city, we could focus only on one technology, not the 100 technologies, and go to companies that are looking only for this technology. So working on a niche would definitely improve our chances immensely, I would say. But we thought, it's always this feeling like the niche might be wrong, or it might not work, or it might be too small. It's okay to be too small at the beginning. So this is one part. The other part, don't build a system from the beginning. Start doing the business, sales, and once you see it's working, then you can kind of wrap it with the software. Because the worst thing is to spend, I think with spending part-time work for 3 months to roll out the platform, it is still too much. I would say the best would be 2 weeks, and just 2 websites. Now you have plethora of different tools like Zapier, um, Bubble, whatever, where you can build your own small basic systems by your own. You don't need even a developer, and start testing and selling. So, and if we had to approach this again, we would go also for this auction model. I think it's much more effective.
yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that we are often talking to people about as well, is that I mean, it's really expensive building any system from scratch. And right now, since the industry has matured quite a lot, there are a lot of off-the-shelf products that you can just pull down and test things out with first. And then if you feel at some point, once you're up and going, that you need to do something um, customized to you, then you can look into it. But in the beginning, just go with what's available and really prove your vision and your unique selling points through that, and then
Exactly.
go from there.
I think also what is great in marketplaces is that you don't need the work is done by the sides of the marketplace, not by you. Because if you build, for instance, a SaaS platform, you need to have some core technology working, and then you can sell it. But in terms of marketplaces, you you don't need, basically, you could do it over phone uh, without any problems. It would still work. Maybe it wouldn't be great, but if you talk to one side and then to the other side, you can figure this out. So because the work is done by the users, not by you. So definitely it's a very good place to do basic testing.
And I know this may kind of go into the same field, but do you have like one single piece of advice that you have learned from this whole experience that you would give to someone who's wanting to start their own marketplace?
For sure, I would. I think many people would say it's laser focus on just building, working out the niche and pounding this niche. I heard on one course there was a great metaphor that the focus has to be 2 inches wide and 2 miles deep. So because everyone says about laser focus, but how it's hard to imagine, but 2 inches wide and 2 miles deep, I think it's a good representation of how focused should you be.
Yeah, I think it's also the CEO of Airbnb who has said, I'd rather make a product that is brilliant for 100 people than something that 100,000 thinks is okay. But it's the same kind of
Yes,
approach.
they started with a WordPress site, and Airbnb started with a WordPress site and hosting for one conference that happens once a year. So that's about the niche.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. And now is BrainJobs still running, or is it? Did you shut it down? Or how is it?
It's kind of still there. The website works, and I'm amazed that people are still signing up. We had to hire lawyers actually to create a new terms sheet to be prepared for GDPR after but because we want to keep the platform. So it's kind of currently in the freezed. We don't use it actively, but yeah, it's not closed either, so it's like parked, let's say.
So people are still signing up. You're
Yes,
still sometimes
still.
getting
W-
matches, but you're not pushing any marketing or
yeah,
anything like that.
yeah, but I'm amazed that they are still signing up. Some people are still, let's say, asking questions. So, and it is the 1.5 years that we I haven't even logged in on the email, and people are still. It's not a lot, it's like one person a month, but still amazing.
And the majority of that is down to the calculator. I think you told me at some point.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you took all this learning, like failure is always a catalyst for learning, right? So you took all of that and you put it into your new company,
yeah.
where you're now helping people build their own marketplaces in a better way. Can you just give us like 30 seconds about that before
Yeah,
we end?
sure. So so we decided that we had some experience there, we had some wins, but maybe other things didn't work out. So we had some other, when we told our story to other people, and other people said, "Oh, we would like to build our own kind of marketplace too, in a different area." But yes, and we said, "Okay, we can build it for you." Some at the beginning it started as they wanted to buy out Brain Jobs, but we didn't want to sell because it was really hard to sell the platform. So we told them, oh, we can build a platform for you. So we applied all this thinking, and we're helping companies to build their own kind of marketplace. We do the software, but we also have a lot of understanding that how it should be run. That you should start with simple and then add a new stuff. That you should actually start building software from both sides and then moving towards transactions. So transactions should be added at the end, and when you are completely sure that this is the right way for users to transact. So we are helping kind of not only in terms of kind of software building, but also doing some small marketing and then advising companies on how should they approach and not to waste a lot of time and money on the whole building process.
And what's the name of your company now?
Brain code.
And if people
It's
wants to reach you,
actually the name was Brain code at the beginning. The company name was, but we thought maybe we'll leave the name and we'll create our own brand called Brain Jobs. So and then when we left the Brain Jobs, we said let's stick with Brain Code. And it's braincode.xyz. We're also creating some content on terms of marketplaces. So if you want to learn and to see some tips, we have just started our blog, but yeah, you can also learn from there too.
And if people want to reach you, how do they get in touch?
You can sign up on the email over email on our website, or just put in LinkedIn Anton Koval. You can approach me at any point. I'm always happy to talk about marketplaces. Sometimes too much, but
Never been too
still
much.
happy to talk to. Yeah.
And just to wrap things up, is there anything we have missed? Is there any last piece of advice you would like to give people who are starting up or who are running a marketplace already?
Well, I definitely think that marketplaces are the future, because they are finally kind of bridging this digital and not digital world. And I think also that everyone should try. And again, you don't need to spend billions on trying. You can spend it really wisely, but not to wait. You don't need to wait. Just give yourself 4 weeks or 2 months and do it. Try it. If you see there's attraction, go for it. Yeah.
I think that's good advice. Thank you so much for joining us here at
Thank you.
Pacific. We're also always happy to talk about marketplaces, so you can reach out to us too. We obviously focus more on the content moderation part. So once the marketplace is built and the content is coming
Yeah.
in, yeah, I always enjoy doing these interviews because I think it's super interesting to hearing from people within the industry, and especially you guys who have been actually working directly on
Yeah.
marketplaces. So thank you so much, Anton, for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And I'm sure we will talk more in the future.
I'm happy to talk always.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.